Hi there, my name is Steve Carroll, and as an art history teacher, I am often asked who my favourite artist is. I know my response is supposed to be something like, well, I look at so much art, I can't possibly name just one artist. But I can name one artist, and that is the painter Graham Sutherland. Sutherland started his artistic career as a printmaker, creating etchings inspired by the work of the 19th century Romantic artist Samuel Palmer. He became part of a distinctly British movement called Neo-Romanticism that sought to recreate the feeling of Romanticism with the language of modernism. Sutherland's 1939 painting Entrance to Lane is an example of this. He was fascinated by Picasso during this period and was referred to as the Picasso of the landscape. His own phrase for describing these works was a paraphrase of nature. Like a poem, the landscape is not referred to in an obvious fashion, but broken apart and reassembled in a way that emphasizes how the artist reacted to what he saw. Of course, 1939 was the start of the Second World War, and Sutherland was employed by the War Artist Commission, an initiative headed by Sir Kenneth Clark to employ the nation's artistic talent rather than send them out to fight. Among other subjects, he recorded the devastation caused by the Nazi bombing of London's East End, creating these atmospheric works. Some were drawn up on the spot after the air raids using pastels, ink and wax resist. Others were worked up into more finished pieces, using colours to reflect the sombre mood of the ruined city. They have a surreal and almost abstract quality. The effect of the war on Sutherland's art was similar to the way it influenced his generation of artists, including Henry Moore and John Piper. It produced a more damaged view of reality. This can be seen in the series of drawings and paintings of thorns. He had been commissioned to paint a crucifixion including a crown of thorns, and he became fascinated by the way thorns pierced the air. I personally feel this body of work is more powerful than the crucifixion painting that resulted, as if the earth is screaming out from the horror that has occurred during the war. And the Lord said to Cain, "What have you done? Listen, your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground." Sutherland had followed the Allies into Europe after D-Day and recorded the devastation left in their wake. As a government employee, he had access to the first photographs of Belsen, the concentration camp liberated by the British. These images had a profound effect upon Sutherland, and they became the source of his imagery for a commission to paint the crucifixion for St Matthew's Church in Northampton in 1946. This is a powerful painting that refers back to Grunewald's Isenheim altarpiece of the first decade of the 16th century. There is also a reference to the work of his friend Francis Bacon in the way the background is divided up. My main concern is the width of the torso, which makes Christ look more like Samson and is a departure from the Belsen victims it inspired. What I do appreciate is the concept. Sutherland was a Roman Catholic, and the idea that all the sins of the world, including the Holocaust, are transferred to the suffering Christ is both profound and shocking. I much prefer the studies he created for this project, where Christ's body is stretched painfully like the string on a crossbow. One of these was preserved at the foot of the tapestry for the rebuilt Coventry Cathedral, revealed in 1962. This rather magnificent work has come under fire. Even Sutherland wasn't completely satisfied with the end result, saying at the cathedral's consecration service, "Oh well, it could have been worse." I think individual elements work well, especially the four symbols for the gospel writers at the sides. Christ's legs beneath his gown look like the swollen abdomen of an insect, as if he is a queen bee inside a nest. Another infamous commission was, of course, his portrait of the retiring Prime Minister, Winston Churchill. This was a commission paid for by the members of both the House of Commons and the Lords. Copyright laws prevent me from showing you a photograph of the final work, taken before Lady Churchill destroyed it, but we have here one of the studies. I think the painting was excellent. According to Sutherland, Churchill wanted him to paint him as a bulldog, but Churchill thought he ended up looking like an imbecile. In the wake of these two publicly humiliating failures, Graham Sutherland and his wife Kate moved to Menton, on the Mediterranean coast of France near to the Italian border, where he lived as an expat, enjoying the climate, the wine, fast cars and a good cigar. However, in the 1970s, he returned to Pembrokeshire in Wales, where he had painted as a younger man, and created the most outstanding body of work. I have studied the lives of many artists, and few create such powerful work in the final decade of their lives. It is as if everything he had learned was revealed in these huge, mesmerising canvases. They are paraphrasing nature, but without the naivety of youth. There is the struggle of nature, the beauty of his commercial design work, and all the presence of his portraits. In these paintings, the natural world gives up its secrets. They are like Celtic mysteries, songs to the unfathomable beauty and transcendence of nature. Graham Sutherland died in 1981. I see Sutherland as a contradiction. A middle-class, well-connected English gentleman who was honoured by the Queen and commissioned to paint portraits of the great and the good of his time. But in his art I see a man who is close to the earth, almost a hippie mystic wanting to show us another reality, not on some higher plane, but beneath our feet, the hills and wooded areas of our own world. Informed by his Christian spirituality, it is a realm of battles and of enigmatic sublimity.